Well, I would say it took them 5 years. What you
Well,
do, the loans are no interest for 5 years.
Well, they were low interest.
Yeah.
The other side of the river, the bridge is right at the second license in Tennessee. I went with the Charlotte Search and Dive Team yesterday, and we went house to house, and it's devastating. We probably got 150 homes there that pretty much either total or they're going to have to just sell them.
Yeah. Even coming in, we saw stuff sitting up by the curb already. People go to their houses. Must have got back in yesterday.
We let them go back yesterday when the water got low enough that it wasn't affected.
Some of the health department back here and talk about condominiums.
A lot of that starts tomorrow. Our people and some of your people.
Same people. Same people are hurting.
A lot of them, yes, ma'am. We had, by my estimation, 19 inches less before. So.
I thought it was about the same, 19 inches less.
On the other side of the river, it seemed to be about the same, but in my office, I had 14 inches last night. This time, it was like about 4 or 5 inches getting in there.
So you didn't even get one?
Not in my office. But around me, they did.
No, I'm amazed. I'm really amazed.
Our council makes sure of me, I think, out of Mississippi.
For the streets we walked down, got a lot of water too.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. We were going by boat yesterday. I started up almost at the fire department.
So all this has gone down. All this. What can we do to help?
No.
Give it up.
And we took an aerial trip yesterday, and that's one thing that we do need is we got a lot of debris, and we've got backhoes loaded on. If you can get some state insurance and allow DOT to come in here and just tear this stuff to a simple point where we can dump it, and then FEMA will pay.
Yeah, I know. We'll do that.
If you can do that.
You're going to hand that to me, but I need to write it down.
No, no.
They have not. I've done mine. They'll come in tomorrow and start doing the inspection. So there will be. I mean, eyeballing it, you can see that we're going to hit the threshold.
One other thing for the cleanup that we have to do at our expense.
And I like to say this, because of the predesignation idea stuff we're doing right now, they will let you have it and then we can pay them back.
For the cleanup that we do, the town has, it's going to be fairly significant. FEMA typically reimburses us by 75%, and we've done it well enough and have documented now. In the past, the state has paid the other 25%, and we're hoping that that'll happen.
We'll do what we need to do. Keep you whole. We'll do what we need to do. But nothing bad for today. And I can get people down here today. You're not ready to get the trucks and stuff in yet.
That's right. Tomorrow morning we'll be ready. We can be ready to
I'll call
DOT
on the way back.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Anything that you think of. You've got our numbers. You know what.
We've got all your numbers, and I may be sending faxes tomorrow morning.
Yeah, well, you have to. And we've had a team on and off. I think.
You've had a number of people here.
Yeah, I know.
I can't say enough about all of the volunteers that have been here. Greenville's Rescue, Charlotte Search and Dive Team. I went with them on the boat yesterday to about 50 homes. They had to swim to some of them. They're fantastic. The state emergency people have done a fantastic job. So we've had a lot of good help and good people.
But most of it you couldn't even enlist until the water goes down.
That's right. We did all this by boat.
We've done this by boat. So the hard work starts tomorrow for everybody. The hard work starts tomorrow. We pray it's down enough to start the cleanup tomorrow.
It will, but we've had an east wind that backs water up.
That's what they were saying. The sergeant was telling us that it had dropped significantly today. This is easy stuff to do.
Good.
Disasters declared. The trucks will come in and help you move stuff. I'll work on the 25%. And then anything else that we can do, just have to call.
We will.
And I understand FEMA is on the ground. I think their assessment teams are here in the state.
Okay. Good.
If you want to have the cameras, everybody swing around this side and take a few questions.
You've been up since Thursday?
Pretty well, but we've been hitting front wall.
Everybody set? Go ahead.
Questions, guys? What's your initial reaction? Well, it looks sad. It's tragic, and it's tragic for this community. It's the same thing that happened at Floyd. And so many of the same homes and businesses are the same ones hit. That's what's so devastating. These people have just really bounced back and started to make money and live their lives again. Now to have the same thing happen, it sends a message to all of us that you just got to be prepared for the worst. The mayor and the fire department and the local EMS folks, as well as the volunteers from all over the east and all over the state, have been here since Friday morning. Everybody's pitched in. It's a real hard work begins tomorrow. If you look today, Sunday, as we drove around and looked at some of the houses, you can already see the stuff laying in the ditch or laying in the front yard. They've begun to pull it out. It'll look like it's been disemboweled by tomorrow, the next day. That's the hard part. People lose everything they have and have to pick up and go on. The good news is there's been no deaths. The other good news was the land was so dry, the ground was so dry, that a lot of the water didn't saturate. I hear y'all had a golf match yesterday. That the ground really is that dry still. And that's saved us. We didn't have that in Floyd, and so the damage won't be nearly as significant. Let me tell you what, if you're one of the 200 homes or businesses that have been hurt, that's significant damage to you. We've all got to pitch in North Carolina and raise money and send food and send clothes and send housing furniture and office furniture to help all these people harmless. That's what we do in North Carolina.
What can the state do to help the town get back on its
Well, you
feet?
just heard what we've been asked right away. We've had teams of people in here since Thursday night and Friday morning. We intend to keep those people here. We have weights and measurements and DMV helping relieve the local law enforcement and to give folks some rest at night. Because the electricity stayed on, that was one of the first things I asked. There hadn't been the looting that we would normally be so afraid of. So people have been able to live some kind of life, even though there have been many that have been devastated. And so the state will do what we can do tomorrow to help clear out the debris and the damage, as we always do. Not a lot of trees have fallen. You don't have a lot of the highways. So this is not typically after a hurricane kind of storm cleanup. But you're going to have housing debris and the stuff that's just dangerous if you leave it for any length of time. We'll do our part. FEMA will do the 75. I will try to find the 25 in the state. We'll do that. And we'll do anything that we can do that's legal to help this community recover. They deserve that, and I expect that from North Carolina.
Is there anything long-term you can think of that could be done for this town since it's had two disasters like this in 10 years?
Yeah, I learned in principle not to try to tell people what they have to do with their lives. I wouldn't want anybody telling me if my house had flooded or my business had flooded 2 or 3 times. I do think that folks have to consider that if this is the second time it's happened in the last 15 years, then you can count on a third or fourth time in a lifetime. And those are just individual decisions that people have to make, and that none of us try to micromanage in America, thank God. The federal government is there, the state government is there to help people pick up and start again, and we'll be there this time. But at the end of the day, if it were my house, I would probably think about trying to move it back or prop it up.
Any others?
Hey, Mayor, will most of these businesses downtown have to be condemned?
I don't think so. It didn't get real high, except in a few. And the restaurants and all, before when this happened, the health people had a lot to say about it. Certain standards all had to be met, of course, but they approved, in due time for them to go back in there and reopen.
And they're the people, they'll start their assessments tomorrow, and that's the sad part. I can remember during Floyd, some of y'all were right with me. We would ride by a street and you'd see the big X and the posting from Public Health that said it was condemned, and that's the worst. So we're hopeful that because, again, the ground wasn't that wet, the water has been less invasive because it hadn't stood as long as it stood during Floyd, that we're hoping that the damage will be minimal. But at the end of the day, that's not for us to determine. The health department and FEMA makes those declarations, and the mayor and I will suck it up and just keep on keeping on. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whatever.
Real quick,
That's the spirit. Everything's gone.
They have to go through the same process that it was before I supposed to rebuild it back up. About 4.5 months last time. And the water was in the house longer last time.